Okay, is it recording? Hey, it's me, Nick Freitas. I'm the owner of Ohana Yoga. I'm a yoga teacher. I have a professional baseball career. I played at University of Miami. Started doing martial arts in Taekwondo, WTF, World Taekwondo Federation. It's the Olympic style when I was 4. And I got my black belt before I was 10. And I started yoga when I was 7 or 8. So what I'm about to show you is the 3 main stretches without fascial release or self-massage or any type of dynamic warm-up to open up all angles of your hips. This is going to be all about protecting your knee, protecting your lower back, and then finding balance and alignment with your hips. So the first one that I think is the most important from my research, studies, experience, I like having everybody start off with a frog pose. Your frog pose is an adjusted and modified martial arts split. So a lot of guys in martial arts and the military and in different forms of service industries, including the police department, sheriff's office, and the EMS guys, people that use their legs a lot, they tend to get hip dysplasia. We drive every day, unless you catch the bus, but people always drive with the right leg. So instead of doing this, where your toes are pointing forward or your toes are pointing up, there's a lot of pressure going down on the knee joint. So from there, you're going to drop down to your knees. Make sure that your shins are parallel to each other and your toes are going to point out. You're going to drop down to your forearms, and then you're going to try to find symmetry with your upper body and the foundation that you built. So with your knees and your forearms, you're going to gently sway from side to side, just a few inches. It shouldn't hurt too much. If there's too much pain on your lower back or your knees or your hips, you're going to bring your knees together. If you need to, you can always put a blanket on your knees. I know I'm doing it on a hard floor, but I'm kind of used to it, so it might be a little bit of pressure on the skin inside of your knees. So wherever you're at, you're going to gently sway from side to side. Try to even out the weight distribution between the right arm and the left arm. Even out the weight distribution between the right knee and the right leg and the left leg. Once you start doing this, you'll really feel if one of the hips is locked up. And by doing this, you can move side to side, forward and back, or you can move in circles. And because your hip bone that goes into the pelvis is in a ball socket joint, it's okay to move in circles. It's okay to move from side to side. Try to identify which hip is tighter, and then try to identify whether the inside, the outside, the front, or the back of the hip is tightest. All right, so after you do that, you're gonna push the hips back, and you're just gonna sit here. If you want to, you can move forward and back once you find symmetry between the left and the right side of the body, or you can stay where you're at. There's a couple other postures, but I kind of reveal those ones that get deeper into the body in my videos, if you guys want to look at those later down the road. But after that, you're gonna bring your body back to center. The next thing that you can do is either your pigeon posture. Your pigeon posture is a really noticeable and recognizable posture that a lot of yoga people do. Your pigeon posture, Ekapada Rajakapotasana, it looks like this. So just so you can see exactly where your knee is, just to protect your knee, try to bring your knee somewhere in between the center of your chest and the midline of the body, or underneath your right shoulder. You don't want your knee going too far outside the hip joint, because as your foot starts moving forward and forward, you're going to be externally rotating the shin, so you're putting too much pressure on the inside of that joint, okay? So ACL and MCL, one of the places a lot of athletes have problems with. So you're going to be squaring your hips, squaring your shoulders, taking a deep inhale, finding length, exhaling, hinging from the waist, walking the hands out. Now, if you can already tell that there's some space between your hip and the floor, you're going to add either a pillow from your couch, pillow from your bed, or if you have a yoga block, you're going to scoot that in, use it as a kickstand. So from here, you're going to be finding length. If you want to, you can always try to find a gentle twist. Your biggest thing here is keeping your lower back safe and making sure that your hips are square and your shoulders are square to the ground. You want to keep the stretch in your hip. You don't want it going into your lower back, and you don't want to be putting too much pressure on the knee. To go a little bit further into protecting the knee, you want to make sure that your big toe is flexed. You want to dorsiflex your right foot. That foot you're stretching, on the leg you're stretching, you want to flex that foot back towards the knee. That'll help protect your knee joint just a little bit instead of having it turn externally, opening up the inside. After you do that, all you're going to be doing is some type of hamstring stretch. So you open up the inside, affecting your psoas, your adductors, all right? Some of the other according muscle groups. And then you open up the back side. So you covered 2 of the major angles. The last thing that you need to do is open up your hamstring somehow. Any stretch would suffice. Most of us stretch our hamstrings first when our lower back hurts. I don't know why, it just feels good, right? Do those first 2 stretches, stretch out your hamstrings, and then do some type of quad stretch. Either bringing the quad back, stacking the body for a quad stretch is really good, but you get carried away pulling it behind you. Everything that you do is about symmetry and balance. So if you have a core stabilization issue, we have to figure out whether you have a core imbalance. If you have hip dysplasia or one hip's tighter than the other, maybe it leads to the core, maybe it leads to your feet or knees. So everything that you do, be mindful when you move, but you have to focus on finding balance between the left and the right side of the body. Otherwise, all this is for shit. Have a good day.